Good morning, Sunday school kiddos. Today we're going to be talking about Ezekiel. Last week we talked about the prophet Jeremiah. Now we're going to be talking about the prophet Ezekiel. Ezekiel, when he was younger, trained up to be a priest in Jerusalem. However, while he was training, the Babylonian army came and conquered and took Ezekiel and about 10,000 other people as prisoners. Now, they weren't prisoners as in locked up in a cell. They were free to go in and out of the country. However, they belonged to the Babylonian country. With this, Ezekiel no longer was training up to become a priest. He then became a prophet after listening to the Lord and obeying him. So a bit different. Remember, a prophet is someone who tells messages from the Lord. On to our lesson. One day, the Lord came to Ezekiel in a vision. The Lord showed Ezekiel a valley that was full of dry bones or skeletons. You might see them during Halloween. Anyway, back to the lesson. Ezekiel went back and forth over the valley. There were so many bones. These bones represented the children of Israel that are no longer together as the nation. They are in Babylonian captivity. God asked Ezekiel, "Are the bones alive?" Ezekiel answered, "You are God. You know the answer." Makes sense. God is an all-powerful God. He should know that answer. So maybe he's trying to ask Ezekiel about something or get him to think about something. God then tells Ezekiel to tell how the Jews of Babylon are like the dead, dry bones, never to come together again as a skeleton or a living body. As Ezekiel was telling about his vision, there was a great noise. There was a rattling sound, and all at once the bones started coming together. Now that seems a bit weird. Let's stop and think about that. Bones coming together. Off topic, but this is going to help us, trust me. How many of you know about macaroni and cheese? More importantly, more what we're going to be focusing on are the noodles inside. I don't know if you guys can see this, but there you go. See, they're dry. And if you eat them as is right now, they're really not flavorful, kind of gross. Just get them stuck in your teeth. They don't do anything. That's just like the dry bones. God is saying that Israel is dead, can't do anything. They're just there. However, when you add water, boil the noodles for a bit, maybe add some cheese, some milk, some butter, maybe some meat, then you get this really nice pasta dish, but it comes together and it works together, and it's so yummy. So keep the pasta in mind when thinking about the dry bones. The bones by themselves can't do anything. They're just there laying down. However, just like God said to Ezekiel, these bones never come together. They can't do anything unless they have life in them. So let's keep on reading. God took Israel and showed him a valley that was full of the dry bones. They were scattered all around. Try and picture that. So he said, "Oh Lord, only you know the answer." Then God spoke to Ezekiel and said, "Speak to these bones and say to them, 'Dry bones, listen to the word of the Lord. This is what the Lord says. Look, I am going to put flesh and muscles on you, cover you with skin. I will put breath into you, and you will come to life.'" So Ezekiel spoke the message that God told him. As he spoke, there was rattling. Try and picture it. Noise across the valley, and the dry bones came together and formed complete skeletons. Then muscles and the flesh formed, and the skin, they had bodies now. The bodies were made and looked like people, but they weren't alive. They didn't have breath to breathe. And so God told Ezekiel to prophesy that breath would fill their lungs. The winds came whoosh, and filled their bodies with breath, and they came alive. Look at or think about the pasta again. It is dry, it's hard, not very good as it is right now. It looks like nothing can help it, or that it wouldn't really taste good, or nothing good can come out of it. But we know better. We know that if we boil and use some water, well, I already went over this, but they become a really nice pasta dish, and they're yummy, and they're great, and they make you feel awesome. Once the skeleton came together, and the muscles formed, and the skin came over, they were living bodies. Well, not living, until they had the breath of God in them. So after the winds came, they began to breathe, they could stand. They became a very large army, an army to serve. The people of Israel felt like they were the army of bones, all dried up and unable to fight. God calls to them, "O my people, I, God, will bring you back to Israel and give you your own land." God will bring his people back together as a nation. All right, that is our lesson for today. See you guys next week.